From pine tree to palm tree, this is your host, Trevor White, with his lovely co-host with the most toast with beautiful eyes today. Look at those eyes. They're radiant.
They are very blue today.
They're blue, and you did eye makeup in a way that I just love. I don't know.
I actually got ready.
Is that what it is?
And I got a tan.
So you got a tan
when I'm
and
a
you
little more
got
tan,
ready.
my eyes pop a lot more.
They are definitely popping.
Yes.
So, well, welcome to today's show. We are at Lidgate. No, we're not at Lidgate.
Liar.
We have changed locations. I was just like playing it up. I know I'm not at Lidgate. Here we are at Shipwreck Beach. Why do they call it Shipwreck?
Legend has it that a ship wrecked right over there. And when the ship wrecked, it just stayed here, and then it decomposed and fell apart. And, of course, that was before I was probably born. That's how the legend goes.
So the legend goes. That's
Yes.
the story
That's
of
the
the
story.
legend.
That's what I've heard, is there was a ship here that wrecked.
Okay, very cool. Hey, I want to show you something really cool. So if you look at our cameras, so look at that camera right there.
Yep.
What's up, people? See that red light under it?
Yeah.
If that red light's on, that's the camera that's recording.
This probably would have been good to go through before we started.
Probably
the show.
should have, but I noticed you were still looking at that camera, but I'd already moved it to this camera over here, and you were still looking over there. So then it's like you're like looking off.
I'm
and
like
people
this
are like,
the whole
"What are
time."
you? What is it that you're looking?" You are kind of an airhead, though. So
My favorite's blue raspberry.
I do. Your favorite is blue, and there you have it, folks. There you have it.
You said airheads. I'm already craving sugar because I haven't eaten
I
it.
said airheads. That's what that was. Okay, so we are here to dive
It's gonna
into
be a
a
good one today,
subject
you guys.
matter that was amazing. It's very personal and very awesome. Not really. I'm like building this up to be something. All of you guys know I had a
It was
run.
pretty awesome. I would not like downplay it.
No,
At all.
No, and I'm not trying to downplay it, but we had an experience, and I didn't just have an experience. You had an experience too, but it was to run around the island of Kauai, Hawaii, which from point to point is 77 miles, which I did not complete the full 77. We'll get into that, but I did complete the island run. So we'll get into the nuances as to why that happened. But that was just a week ago. That basically just a little over a week ago that we went out on this adventure. So morning of
Yes.
the run, what's going through your head as the support?
Morning of the run, I really was just, my main concern was driving us home, and no one had
Okay.
talked about it. And I wasn't going to bring it up because you had enough to worry about. But in my heart, I was like, Trevor's going to be running pretty much 24 hours, and I'm going to have to drive us home because I'll be damned if I have to sleep on the beach. And someone will steal my shoes. I'm sure of it. So I don't do well when I'm super tired. Like, I just don't. So that was my main concern. But I was just like praying. I'm like, you know what? It's fine. I really didn't have any expectation. I had no idea. No, I did. I packed all of my work stuff. I had all of my papers, and I had like I got a couple new clients I was onboarding last week, and so I had all their stuff to get everything onboarded. I had stuff to record some podcasts, and in my mind I was like, if he's running, I'll like leapfrog and sit for hours. I'll have tons of time to get so much work done. And I was actually pretty pumped for that part because I was like, I'm going to get so much done.
Right. You felt like you're going to be super productive and you're going to have all this. And in reality, that's what I thought too.
Yeah.
Right. I thought that was going to be the case. So the morning of,
Nobody asked you.
I asked myself because you weren't going to ask me. So
Hey,
I was
Trevor, tell us how the morning of
I was
felt.
just going to
What were
continue
you
the conversation.
Just
And
kidding.
you fail. You fail in that.
You may
So
continue.
This is why you're the co-host and not the host, right? Because
Yeah,
that's why. All
that's
right.
fine.
Anyhow, so the morning of for me, I was very excited about what was to come. I didn't know exactly what was going to come. Like I had no idea what to expect. I've never done anything like this, and I only had 6 weeks to train. So I was very aware, and I think if you remember, like throughout the week leading up to it, I kept complaining a little bit about my legs don't feel recovered. Like
Yeah, I do
they
remember
weren't
you
like
expecting
rested.
to feel a lot more like
and
vibrant in your.
Well, and it wasn't.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't have a spring in my step. It's like they're not coming. I'm taking BCAAs. I'm taking every supplement I can think of. You're telling me to take stuff, all these things just to try to pack my muscles. I carb load like crazy the night before, but even that morning, I'm like, they feel good, but they didn't feel, and I don't know if I expected them to feel like I did when I was 25 years old.
I think you were expecting them to be 100% like good to go with lots of energy stored.
Yeah, and I didn't have that. And so I was like, it'll be okay though. I'm like, I'm not planning on going super fast. But we get out there, we get to the car, we drive out. It takes us maybe, half hour to get to the starting area?
First of all,
okay, hold on.
We were supposed to get up at 5.
Yes.
We were supposed to get up at 5 and be to Polhale by 6.
I wanted to start the run at 6.
And the alarm goes off, and I'm like, oh, here we go. And then he turns it off, and he's like, we're sleeping until 6. So I'm like, okay. So I roll over, and we go back to bed. So we kind of got a late start anyways.
Yeah,
later.
But you know what's interesting though? I've reflected on that, and I've had to forgive myself for that, because what was the whole point of me doing this run?
God told you to.
Well, no, but we'll get to that. But remember, why was I trying to do it?
Break your old patterns and habits and become a new version of
yourself.
And
I wanted it to be hard.
Yeah.
The whole point was to be hard.
Yeah.
Right? This wasn't I didn't really want trained legs. I didn't really want to be in this peak physical condition that this would be easy for me, right?
Yeah,
I wanted it to be hard.
Yeah.
So I started out the entire experience letting the loser in me win. Because I get up at 5 and I'm like, oh, I'm too tired. I got a long day ahead of me. I need 1 more hour.
But at the same time, I think you knew you were going to be running all day. So really, what was 1 more hour? And
1 more hour was,
I
don't think I needed it. That's
you probably
the point.
Didn't, but I can see where your mind went. I don't think
Yeah, the loser, the weak mind of me. And that's
Yeah.
what I saw. Like, that was the weak side
I was fine
of
with
me.
the extra hours later.
I'm sure. Well, and realized, but in the big scheme of things, the whole point of me doing this was to push myself to do something that was harder, and that's not what I allowed to happen in the very first moment. So anyhow, I've reflected on that. I've forgiven myself. I'm okay. But yeah, so we get up, we get ready, we get everything packed up. We already had everything laid out and kind of ready the night before. But we got everything finalized. I was impressed. We didn't forget anything.
No, we were
at all.
We were very prepared.
Like, we had everything we needed. I had the gels. I had the little waffle cone things. We had some amazing friends who even had some things that I ended up needing, and they gave us more little food things, different things.
Well, and I think what with you training, a lot of your training problems you had training was because you weren't hydrated, you didn't have gels,
for sure,
and you were like legit running marathons on like 300 calories. And so I remember you talking to Heather and Nick and Spencer and like all the runners in our life, and they're like, no, like you need to continue to fuel and hydrate like every hour. You should be doing that. Yeah. Which was good, because I think you learned the hard way, and it was solidified with them saying, no, like this is legit how you do it.
Yeah,
so.
For sure. Well, and a lot of it too was just the fact that I was doing something I'd never really done like this. I've done ultras, but not like this. They were an ultra marathon. And so I did over 24 hours run 75 miles or something like that, or whatever it was. But
I think you guys each did like 66 miles.
All right, 66, whatever that was.
That was fun.
But it was over time, and it was with 2 other guys, and we were leapfrogging each other, so I had a lot of rest time in between and all of this.
And a full excursion to like lay down in.
Yeah, like I just had, it was a different experience, right? This was now me, Trevor, nonstop, go from one point of the island to the other point of the island, which in my initial calculations was 77. But we get ready to go, we throw everything in the car, we start driving out there, and I'm like nervous, but not. I'm just kind of like, this is gonna be exciting. It wasn't nervous that I couldn't do it or it was going to be too hard. It was excitement, right?
Yeah.
And I think part of what made that excitement is you started putting together this text group. We have a lot of friends here on the island, a lot of friends off the island, and a lot of family that wanted to be kind of involved in the journey. Right? They're like, we want to be, this is cool. Like, we want to, and so we were thinking, how do we do that? And so you put together this text group that has these people in it. That have been kind of involved with me in this journey from the beginning, right? Even 6 weeks prior, when I was like, I'm going to do this, they were kind of my confidant in my group. One thing that was cool is people said I was crazy. The normal people, everybody like, oh, that's crazy to do that. But it wasn't followed up by, why are you doing this? You're an idiot. Everything was always, Trevor, I think you're crazy, but we totally support you. Yeah. We totally get it. Like, this is amazing. Go do this thing. So I've never in my life really had that many people who have rallied around to support me in a way that, like, it was overwhelming. It was really cool to see all the names in the list and that you'd put together. And so we get to the start, and right out of the gate, I lose 5 miles. right? I lose 5 miles basically right out of the gate and because the 77 I'd calculated went all the way into Pulley Holly, and it's a dirt road and it's a terrible road. We're in your car, not going to work. So we're like, all right, right there's
my car
5.
would have been swallowed up by the holes.
It's 5 miles shy. So I knew that going into it. I'm like, that's fine. And we talked about it on
72 miles.
Yeah, so we talked about it on here before, I think, on the show, where we kind of knew that was going to be the case, but we got out there. It was for sure the case. And so anyhow, so we get to the start, and then do you remember what I was totally doing?
You were stalling like crazy. Like I think
totally
we sat at the start line for probably 20 minutes, and I was like, bro, you got to go. Like, you got to go.
Yeah.
You got to go. And you just kept stalling and stalling, and finally you started, but it was kind of funny because you're joking around, but you just like wouldn't start.
Yeah, it was, and I was stalling, but not really. But then I realized I was stalling, and I'm like, just start. And I think in my head, I'm like, as soon as I start, I've started.
Yeah.
Right? There's no turning back. This is in my mind. I'm like, we're going to do this within 24 hours. So it's a 24-hour window thing I'm pulling off here. And when I start, it's go time.
Yeah, there's no stopping.
Yeah, here we go. It's 24 hours in, and I'm going to go. So it was like, but then I start. I'm like, here we go. And I feel strong. I got all my gear that I need. You're in a car. And tell everybody, what was our strategy for this experience? What were we planning on doing here?
So for the first leg, it was like, let's shoot for 5 miles. That was kind of our initial, was like, you were like, go up 5 miles and just wait. So we did that. I did that. The first leg, you were still strong. It wasn't super hot. The sun, it was only like 8:30, 9 o'clock. And so I went 5, but then the next 5, you were pretty gassed by the time I got to you.
Yeah, but not even just what happened, but what was our strategy?
Well, so I was like a pit crew. So our strategy was you run to the car. So I get to the mile marker and then get everything ready for you to get to the car. And my job was to basically like change your tires.
That's right.
So give you more goos. Like you needed more goos and more waffle things. And then depending on how hot it was, we had ice packs to cool you down. Gatorade, I would refill your water bottle with the electrolyte, with the Noon. So like I had this system of like trying to get you in, cooled down, rested enough to get you back out. Yeah. We didn't want to waste a ton of time because all that adds up. So our main concern was we can't sit too long in the car. So I became a pretty good pit boss, if I say so myself.
Oh, you did a wonderful job. And essentially that first 5 miles out of the gate was super easy. It was great. I wasn't going fast. I'm at like, I think I did 11 and a half, 12-minute mile pace, which is barely over a walk. Slow, it's easy, and I know I can maintain that forever. That's at least what I know in the training that I've done. So I get to the first 5. I see your car parked up there, and I'm like, all right, 5 miles down. I had to keep reminding myself, don't think of the big picture. Don't think that you have 70 miles to go. Like, don't do that, because it would wreck my brain for a minute. When I would allow myself to do that, and I'm like, I've just started. Like, because it was very overwhelming. I'm like, I just began. Like that first 5 miles, it took about an hour or so. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm 1 hour down and I have like 23 to go. Yeah. Holy crap. So I think what ended up being, obviously you pitting and supplies was invaluable, right? That was a huge help. But more so than that, mentally, knowing I had these little checkpoints, I didn't have to run 70 miles.
Yeah.
I had to run 4.
Yeah.
Or I had to run 5, or I had to run 3, or whatever it is, whatever that distance was. And so as the tracker would go down in my head, I knew that, hey, I only have 2 more to go, 1 more to go, less than a mile, half a mile. And then I would see the car, or I'd be coming close to the mileage. I'm like, she's got to be around here somewhere. And boom, I would see it. And it was like, oh, I made the checkpoint. And it was like, I didn't have to think big picture, which was really kind of, I think that alone correlates to so much in life, because we get so overwhelmed by the big picture. If I think of 70 miles, I'm overwhelmed. If I think of 3, I could do 3.
Yeah, easy.
Like that's not even hard. I could easily do the 3. Yeah. And then I just can do the 3 again.
Well, you just keep doing 3.
And then I could do 5, and then I could do the 5, and then I do it again, and I do it again. I didn't run 70 miles.
Yeah.
I ran 5 miles a bunch of times over and over.
Yeah.
That's literally what I did. And it made it, like, easy is definitely the wrong word.
Well, it's like that saying, how do you eat an elephant?
One bite at
one
a
bite
time.
at a time. Like, how do you run over 70 miles, 1 mile at a time?
And even down to one step at a time.
Yeah.
Right. And you look at just life in general, the goals, the targets, things you have set for yourself, and things you're trying to go after, things you want in life. You want to lose weight? Okay, great. Stop worrying about the 50 pounds you have to lose. Worry about one.
Well, it's even just what you're going to do today. It's like, what do I do today to get me to that 50? Like, okay.
It's not even to get me to the 50. It's
simple.
the one.
It's 1
It's
pound.
the one. Once
Yep.
you set the target of 50, that's the target. You don't even have to worry about that.
Yeah.
Now you just think about, what am I going to do today for the one?
Yeah.
What do I do for the one? That's really what I saw. And had I not done that, I think it would have been much harder for me mentally, because I'm sitting there running this first 5 miles, and I'm like an hour in, and I'm like daunting about what's to come. But now I don't need to be daunting. It's like, no, I'm just thinking about this thing. So you pit stop me. We're super fast. It wasn't hot at this point. Still early enough in the morning. We get going. I get this next 5 miles. By this next 5 miles, though, the sun comes out.
Yeah.
No, there's not really any cloud cover. The temperature jumps up to low, like 80 at this first. And this is like, it's 80, and it is insane humid. It's abnormally cold, or sorry, hot in Kauai at this time. And so I'm running this thing, and it's hot, and I can feel my energy just getting destroyed. Like, it is like being vacuumed out of me, which was a big problem.
Yeah, because we just started.
I'm just going, and I get in and I see you, and I get in and I get in the car, and I think you turned the car off. You turned the car off and started getting out, and I'm going to turn the car back on. So I jump back in, and I'm like, I'm overheating. And I could feel heat exhaustion hitting me. I could feel that. I could feel all that. I know what it feels like. And I'm like, I'm 10 miles in now, and I've still got 60 miles to go, an entire day to go. Like, I'm 2 hours into this stupid thing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm doomed. I got to figure this out. And so we had the AC on full blast. You got me Gatorades. We got the ice packs under the armpits, back of the neck, put ice packs in the crotch. And I'm literally just sitting there, and I'm like, what did I look like when I came in? Like, when you, after that 10, and what was going through your head? Because I know I was pretty smoked.
Well, when you get super exhausted, your eyes are like kind of glossy, like you would imagine, and you were really hot, like you were red. And I was really worried, because I'm like, we just started. Okay. I was just like, well, crap.
Was there any part of you that was like, we just started, I don't know if he can make it?
No, I don't think that there were. I never doubted that you would make it. In my mind, I'm like, this is going to take us 2 days. I just figured, I'm like, well, this just turned into a weekend event, because I knew you weren't going to quit.
Yeah.
But I've voiced before that I'm just concerned for your health and safety. And so I was like, well, it might come faster than I thought. But I also know, like, I've overheated before, and I also know, I'm like, we just have to get you cooled down, because that's going to suck your energy.
Yeah.
So once you cooled down and you got water and all the stuff, like the second time we met, which I think we lessened it from 5 to 3 miles. So the second meeting was at 3, and you were way better. Like, you were running, you looked stronger. So we figured out really early, which was great. We figured out that, okay, shorter miles during the heat of the day is totally fine, because we've got to keep you cool. As it got cooler throughout the night later, we were able to stretch it to 4 and 8, but like during the heat, that was like, we just needed to keep you from overheating. Yeah.
Well, that was the key. And that was the element. It wasn't that I was exhausted. It was that the heat pulled the exhaustion out. So I think we're going to end up doing this show in a 2-part show, because it literally started raining on us. So if you guys are watching on YouTube, you can see us starting to get wet.
Probably need to cover.
And the rain is now coming. It might be coming too intense. We might have to bring today's show to a wrap. Hey, cover up those cameras, lady. Cover up those cameras. Oh, all right. Now, I guess we got to get them closer. We are still recording audio. I'm sitting here getting completely drenched.
Freak.
To death. The rain just came. There's like one. Actually, that's kind of a big cloud.
No, I don't think it's going to stop.
I don't know. I bet it will. And you kind of like turn into a really big sadness when I don't know. It's hard to describe it. You get very irritated when you get wet and you get rained on.
Yep. I made of sugar, so I'm going to start melting here any minute.
Well, don't worry. I covered up my phone with my shirt. Cover your mic with your hand, and we can sit here forever. We can just
Yay,
continue
we'll just sit here and
this
get
show.
wet.
Oh, there came a big old swarm of rain. All right. Well, here's what we're going to do, guys. We appreciate you guys being huge fans of the show. And this is part one. Part one of the saga. So you're going to have to share it with your friends. Tell everybody about this show if you want to find out. Well, you don't actually have to share it because we're going to tell about it anyways. But please share it. Share the show up.
Well, I think we can just go get in the car and finish it without
Yeah, we sure
cameras.
can. Next week.
We're really going to leave it right
We
there.
are. This is going to be the cliffhanger of all. Trust me, you are going to want to know this. But the lesson from today already, we're 10 miles into this race, and the lesson from today is very simple. Bite-sized chunks. If you want to the big target. Oh, wait, maybe we're good. It stopped
No,
raining.
there's another big black.
We're definitely not doing video anymore because the cameras have been moved and covered up by my lovely co-host who knows live events, and she covered those up because they're expensive. So good job.
Thank you.
I'm proud of you.
Thanks.
So proud of you.
Yeah.
Danielle's assessing. She's looking. Look how fast the clouds are moving now.
Yeah, but there's
crazy.
no blue. It's black.
I know. And the
It's
sun has
black
gone
for a
down.
while.
We got a late start today because I was too busy getting swole at the gym.
Yeah, I think we're just going to finish it next week.
Yeah, we're going to do part two. Round two. Round two is on its way. But for this one, to take that lesson and really apply it. Like, look at the targets you're setting for yourself. Look at the game you have going for yourself right now. Maybe it's weight loss. Maybe it's in two. Like, what are your bite-sized chunks? And obviously, we thought 5 miles was going to be great till it got hot, and then we had to adjust the bite-sized chunks down even.
Because you picked 5, you would have been smoked. It wouldn't have worked.
Oh, I would have
But
been done.
Yeah, like with life, we forget that we can always pivot and we can always change. Just because we set one thing doesn't mean it has to stay that way.
No. See, and I had the end goal of 70 miles in